Yo, sound check, 1 2 1 2, boom boom boom. Okay, we're good. GZTV, what's going on, guys? Back with another video, and in this video, we are going to be talking about Better Call Saul, the 9th episode of season 6. Fun and games. This marks kind of the end of the Better Call Saul storyline for now, and we're entering the Breaking Bad storyline. Obviously, there's 3 episodes to kind of close out Saul Goodman's storyline here, but I'm probably gonna rewatch Breaking Bad from now on. And just take a break that day of that. I might watch Dexter. I might get back into Dexter soon. I'm not really sure, but I kind of want to rewatch Breaking Bad so all this kind of wraps up beautifully. I think that would be a good idea. But let's get into the plot. Let's get into the critical reception, and then I actually have to watch Walking Dead for tomorrow's video. So yeah, Jimmy McGill. I took a shit and it smells. And by the way, I used to have a bunch of shit up here, but I knocked it down, and it's kind of unfortunate. I had to reset some shit. That's why there's like vinyls back here and stuff. But it's pretty cool, you know. You have the Denzel Curry vinyl and stuff. It's a cool little setup. But yeah, let's get into the plot. So Jimmy McGill and Kim Wexler leave for work while Mike Ehrmantraut and his men remove all traces of Howard Hamlin's murder from their apartment. So when someone comes and questions them, like, it doesn't look bad, like, yeah, it's kind of evil. Maybe they should take responsibility for a guy like Howard. You know, he's kind of like their cohort in this whole thing. But I guess, you know, Jimmy kind of has a cold heart at this point after being dissed by his brother for so long. So, yeah. When they return, Jimmy reassures Kim that they will eventually forget what happened, but Kim does not react. She's just kind of stone cold. She's like kind of getting emotional. She doesn't know what the hell to think anymore of Jimmy, of anything. Maybe it's time they go their separate ways, yada yada yada. They kind of have that whole conversation, and you're kind of curious because given that this is the last episode before Breaking Bad kind of kicks off, you know that something is going to happen to Kim, and something does happen. We will get into that, though. We will get into it in a little bit. So, Gus Fring meets with members of the cartel at Don Eladio's home to kind of discuss what happened with Lalo Salamanca. You know, he was a big guy in the drug game at a point. You know, he felt like it seemed like he was ruling the world in the drug world. I have football on in the background, don't mind me. But, yeah, Juan Bolso reads Hector Salamanca's statement claiming Gus killed Lalo Salamanca, which he did, since Lalo contacted Hector after his supposed death, but is now missing. They don't know where Lalo is. They don't know that Mike and them like buried his body underneath the super lab, and nobody but Lalo knows where the super lab is. I think Hector might know where it is, but you know, it's still kind of a mystery where Lalo went. So now we're moving into the Breaking Bad storyline with them not really knowing what the hell's going on. And I don't think they really bring up Lalo in Breaking Bad, but we'll get to that in a little bit. I can't wait to rewatch Breaking Bad. What a beautiful show. With no proof of Lalo's initial survival, Eladio dismisses Hector's request for revenge. And he's like, no, he didn't even survive in the first place. Like, I don't even know if he survived this whole thing. Don Eladio is kind of out of the loop here. Gus knew he survived and all that. But yeah. To keep the peace, Eladio divides the Albuquerque area drug territory. The Salamancas will control the south of Valley, while Gus receives the area to the north, which we know that's probably not going to fucking work. You know, I mean, let's be honest, that's not going to work because Gus wants to take it over. He wants to kind of create an empire. He's kind of like a business guy, you know. Gus later tells Mike to find a new crew to immediately resume construction of the meth lab because now that he has his new area, he's not looking to violate that truce anytime soon, but for now he wants to at least get the fucking meth lab up so he can put up some competition and maybe even steal some customers for the Salamancas. Because although Don Eladio doesn't see it, Gus Fring still kind of has like a deep resentment for the Salamancas, and he wants to get back at them and continue to be on their neck this whole time. So, to celebrate, Gus visits a wine bar and converses with David, his favorite sommelier, enjoying his company before cutting the visit short. So, kind of getting some happy time, you know, not everything has to be serious. He doesn't always have to be in the drug trade and whatnot, which is cool. This is the first time I've really seen Gus enjoy himself in a while and not have, like, a serious look on his face. Mike informs Nacho Vargas' father, Manuel, of Nacho's death and says the Salamancas will no longer target him. That will no longer be a problem. We will go out, we will get the Salamancas, and we'll keep him under control. So that's kind of that. Manuel obviously is very uncertain of all of this, but yeah, the Salamancas aren't going to do anything. They already took care of it. I mean, you know, they already took care of his son, which is obviously very tragic for Emmanuel, but his life is going to be spared. His son got him into this, yeah, right, so. Manuel dismissively tells Mike he is no different from the criminals with whom he associates. I mean, Mike is a criminal, but he really isn't the guy that you want to call criminals out of everybody involved here. Yeah, Mike has probably done some bad things working for Gus and whatnot, but he is definitely not the guy you want to talk like that to. But it is what it is. So Jimmy and Kim attend Howard's memorial at HHM and learn the firm will downsize and rebrand. I mean, I don't know why the fuck Jimmy is surprised. I mean, Howard's father died before the whole series even started. His brother, Chuck McGill, died in the fire. And then, obviously, Howard got shot. So, obviously, there's no one to run HHM. It's an end of an era. Jimmy could take it over probably if he wanted to, but, I don't know. People don't really have... He doesn't really have a good reputation anymore. People kind of see what he's been doing, and they're like, okay, what the fuck, Howard's widow, Cheryl, questions them about the circumstances of Howard's death. Like, did they cause it? Were they lying? Were they harassing him? Did they cause him to commit suicide and whatnot? Kim deflects blame by suggesting Cheryl failed to notice Howard's supposed drug problem, causing Cheryl to break down in tears. Like, she feels guilty. She's like, maybe I should have known. And it's kind of shitty that Kim does this, But obviously, it's kind of rubbed off from Saul. Like, Saul probably taught her to do shit like this. I'm calling him Saul. Like, he's literally Saul now. After having watched that and seeing the ending scene, oh man, it's awesome. It's so beautiful to see it. I mean, this is pretty much the official wrap-up of the Better Call Saul series pre-Breaking Bad. Like, this is a revolutionary episode. This is a big time here. Right. The next morning, Kim surrenders her law license. She realizes, I can't do this anymore. I can't work in a world of law. I can't keep dealing with the corruptiveness. I can't keep ruining people's lives. She's very guilty. Obviously, she's a better person than Jimmy is. So, yeah, it makes sense. But, yeah. And grief towards Howard, because Howard really helped her get on her feet. So, at home, Jimmy begs Kim to reconsider, but finds she has packed her belongings. And realizes that she's leaving him. Like, she doesn't want to have anything to do with him anymore. Like, there's just this toxic environment that has been built, and Kim doesn't want to have any part of that, It makes sense, right? I understand. It's, like, fully understandable, right? Kim tells Jimmy she loves him, but they are bad for each other and will only hurt those around them. And Jimmy kind of has some pretty selfish responses, but are we surprised? That's literally Jimmy McGill. That's kind of what he's grown to be. So yeah, she reveals that this is huge. This is a big mic drop, like a big jaw-dropping thing. She reveals that she knew of Lalo's survival before he appeared at their apartment, but did not tell Jimmy for fear it would jeopardize their scheme against Howard, which he enjoyed but now regrets. Like, she didn't want him to take her and go somewhere else and not continue with the con against Howard. Like, she was having fun and she feels guilty about that, obviously. She's a decent person, right? So she then tearfully leaves him. I mean, my goodness, it sucks seeing Kim leave the series, leave Howard, or leave Jimmy. Maybe we'll see her after the Breaking Bad storyline. I don't know. It's fucking insane. It's a beautiful wrap-up. It's very sad, and not it can't always have a happy ending, but this is not the last we've seen of Jimmy. He has a full, 2 or 3 seasons in Breaking Bad. So, yeah. So in a flash forward, Jimmy has fully embraced his Saul Goodman persona, living in a large mansion, frequenting prostitutes, and driving a Cadillac DeVille to his newly renovated office to meet with clients. So this is kind of where the savageness, the blunt character of Saul Goodman is really born. Like, he's really, really born. So, man, that was an insane final scene. That was fucking awesome. A lot to say about this episode. Critical acclaim, 100%, with 8 reviews on Rotten Tomatoes, 9.5 out of 10, 5 out of 5 from Vulture, 4.5 out of 5 from Den of Geek, A- from the AV Club and IndieWire. The episode offered a dose of the beautifully crafted anguish that this show has perfected. It's an hour of faces of people forced to reckon with what's now broken in their own lives, whether or not they fully blame themselves for doing the actual breaking. The scenes between Gus and David were great. Gus was unwilling to start a relationship because he did not want to risk putting a loved one in danger. Yeah. It was the first scene to challenge the people's perception of Gus, and it would have been nice if the show explored more of the character's thoughts and emotions before its end. But yeah, the scene's direction was awesome. It's a kind of genuine, uncalculated kind of interaction that Gus is rarely afforded, or that he rarely affords himself. It's remarkable, lovely, and terribly sad. Esposito's performance as Gus was amazing here. The scene between Gus and the cartel was tense because it felt like the end of their stories on Better Call Saul. Mike and Manuel's scene was also great. It's extraordinary. Manuel's description of Mike was a reminder to the audience of Mike's true nature as a Pfizer. He's so fully immersed in this cutthroat world of exploitation and death that he's lost touch with how ordinary people process loss or seek justice. His goodness is only relative to the vipers in his sphere. It was the sort of hard-boiled, dark night of the soul stuff that Mike's storylines so frequently produce, and it's as excellent and heartbreaking as the rest. You know, Jimmy McGill kind of moving on to the Breaking Bad persona of Saul Goodman was awesome. A lot of praise for that. The character development, amazing. The transition from Kim's departure to Jimmy's new life was brilliant. We don't need to fill in the steps that got Jimmy from here to there because Jimmy McGill moved out right along with Kim. He's Saul Goodman 24/7 now. There's an ever so thin line separating what Jimmy knows to be true and wants to be true. Fun and Games is filled with the latter, tiny statements that you can almost see him trying to will into fact. Everything you need to fill in that episode-ending time jump is in seeing Jimmy plead for one last chance to make things right, and then failing. Great performances for Bob Odenkirk and Rhea Seehorn, obviously on-screen and off-screen couples, so they have great chemistry. Awesome stuff. It's an absolute acting marvel from the two actors. There was so much amazing acting and dialogue in the breakup scene that you have to just sort of stand back and behold the pièce de résistance. You know, Seehorn nailed the moment as usual. The departure felt right for a series like Better Call Saul. The two actors were extraordinary. You can almost physically see Jimmy trying to hold on as Kim pulls away from him. It feels like honest, like a real breakup, and not too histrionic or staged. Hopefully Kim returns. That would be cool. It was not a proper goodbye to the character. I feel like there's going to be something that closes her up in the last 3 episodes of the series. The breakup moved too quickly, but nevertheless, it's a good episode. You know, Odenkirk and Seehorn display frighteningly real sincerity. At the time this episode came out in July, Seehorn was seen as the performer of the week. So Seehorn was masterful. By TV lines, she was seen as the best actor of the week. Seehorn was masterful and heartbreaking. It was a stunning exit, and one we really hope isn't the last we see of Kim Wexler. We just enjoy watching Rhea Seehorn too much for that. So, yeah, I mean, great episode. Look, I'm going to be getting right back into Breaking Bad and watching it again. I know I watched it over the summer, but man, I realized I have to make it right. I have to. Holy shit, was that speck of dust across the screen? I realized I have to go back and watch it again. It's only right. So, yeah, I don't really have much to say. I have 2 streams back to back tonight. We'll probably watch the basketball game and listen to new music. And then I'll probably be playing a shit ton of Madden because of the Blitz stuff coming out. Very fucking exciting stuff there. Madden, you did it. I mean, great content. You're making me want to get on Twitch again. But leave a like, comment, and subscribe. G's TV as always. Tomorrow you'll have a Walking Dead review. That's probably about it. I don't see any. I mean, obviously later tonight, like right before I'm going to bed, I will be making a NBA review.